With that in mind, I humbly present the crown jewel of Stark Industries' Freedom Line, the first missile system to incorporate our proprietary repulsor technology.
Miss Thorne, I couldn't be happier than to be seeing you bring Riri Williams to life. Iron Man loves Ironheart.
Oh, yeah, the world is watching. Oh, you have to step into it. Yeah, the world is watching.
And people actually should know too, this series isn't
about passing the torch.
I want to continue Mr. Stark's legacy. Your girlfriend will be bigger than Jobs. Right. Bigger than Gates. Right. Bigger than Pym. Right. Bigger than Stark. Yeah, I'm here. Because I can be the greatest inventor of my generation. I need cash. Money. Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire?
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave! With a box of scraps! This is not Iron Man passing the torch
to Ironheart.
We've come so far from the heights of Iron Man 1, but I fear only in the opposite direction we were hoping for. It appears even when standing on the shoulders of giants, Gen Z Marvel still stands at a below sea-level quality metric when it comes to anything they dump on Disney Plus, or for that matter, in the theaters as of late. And by as of late, I mean for quite a goddamn while now. It is with this sentiment we will embark on the latest of spiritual cinematic journeys that Marvel has to offer in the form of the newest show to hit Disney Plus, Ironheart. While the recent track record from Marvel does put a toxic stench on any new project from the once dominant studio, we will, however, be going in raw, no gas mask, with an inkling of hope that perhaps Marvel's newest wave of writers' rooms can shit out a diamond in the rough. Now, what I mean by this is that I'm going in knowing the potential that this show has to fail, but I'm also going in with no filter. I will see this show through for what it objectively presents itself to be, and not for what I think it will or should be. Now, with that being said, sit back, let me do the talking, and let's break down episode 1 of the potential cinematic car crash we all came to witness, known as Ironheart. Okay, I promise, no bias. That was too easy. Also, I've already watched the first episode, so maybe it was slightly more than just a Freudian slip there. Time will tell. Let's do this. The show opens with a scene of Riri and friend, who will become utterly important to the show, talking about their aspirations. And as it goes, we have first impressions to characters all the time in movies and shows, and you only get one shot at those first impressions. Let's see what we get from Riri.
A girlfriend would be bigger than Jobs. Right. Bigger than Gates.
Better than Bill Gates, better than Steve Jobs, better than Stark combined.
Bigger than Pym. Right. Bigger than Stark. Yeah, combined.
Great first impression. Absolutely outdid yourselves here, pals. I swear they took the writers from The Acolyte, gave them upside down lobotomies, handed them a $400 netbook with Microsoft Copilot AI, and told them to bang out a script in 36 minutes. So far, the opening scene is just Riri bragging and saying she's gonna be better than everybody else. You know, a tell, don't show mentality from this show off the rip. It's fantastic. That's our first introduction to Riri Williams. Well, if you don't count the other production she was in, Wakanda 2, Waterworld, or whatever it was called. You know the one with the guy with the wings on his feet and all that. Yeah. Anyways, rule number 1 of cinema is show, don't tell. So let's see what they do with the second introduction of Riri. Perhaps they can show us something.
I'm here because I can be the greatest inventor of my generation.
I guess she just blatantly tells us she can be the greatest inventor ever. Got it. I trust you. Now, we could have opened on a really great character-driven scene. Instead, we have to get a candid clip of her bragging about herself.
Bigger than Pym. Right. Bigger than Stark. Yeah, combined.
And then we double down on that with the dialogue stating that she can be the best, that she's the best.
Because I can be the greatest inventor of my generation.
Just fantastic. Anyways, she then goes on to shit on Tony Stark, saying he would be nothing without the money.
I need cash. Money. Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire? No shade.
And he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark off rip.
I won't roast Tony Stark off rip.
Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire? No shade.
So, let me get this straight. She's apparently the only one who is able to work with limited resources. Let's dial this back. Let's dial the clock back a bit. We literally saw what Tony did with his limited resources in the first act of his first movie.
My turn.
He built that shit in a cave with a box of scraps.
With a box of scraps!
Holy shit. We're off to a great start here with Marvel's Iron Heart, that is. Now we get to see Riri becoming a tech dealer at college to raise funds.
I need cash, money. My means of fundraising have been a little experimental.
But where does she get the funds to even make the tech in the first place if she didn't already have funds and resources to make tech? Seriously, she made a goddamn bubble shield for this guy?
This is awesome.
Okay, whatever, just accept it. We then see her in some sort of lab with the words Iron Suit plus Artificial Intelligence written on it, implying she's building her own version of Jarvis. Could be exciting, not gonna lie. She then plugs something in and it causes a bunch of sparks to happen and...
She did something! Everybody out!
Science shit. She's doing science shit, guys. Now, this really has to be the lamest demonstration of science shit that I've seen in the MCU to this day. Like, we couldn't make it any more exciting or any more plot driven. She just has to plug in something and shit explodes. Science. Okay. Now, what's really confusing is if you watch this scene, just a few things spark up and there's some noises, but other than that, like nothing dangerous actually happens, which is going to be a very important detail for this next scene. So we cut to her pleading to extend her grant with the university administration so she can finally finish her project.
Maybe you could convince the board to extend my grant just one more year.
You know, the Iron Heart AI project, which will apparently make 9/11 responses faster than ever.
If I could just get my idea off the ground, help would never be too late. This could change the world.
Which I'm not quite sure how this adds up, but isn't this exactly what Tony wanted to do with Age of Ultron and the Jarvis and the Ultron AI and the Iron Man suits already? Like, have we already tried this? Interesting approach. Well, we'll give it a shot. Also, on a terrible filmmaking note, the professor all of a sudden has a broken arm and he's kind of beat up, even though, like I said, when we go back to the previous scene, we don't really see anything dangerous happening outside of a few sparks and some noises as he safely exits the scene. So we're either missing some cutting room floor footage or the writers are just absolutely bafflingly stupid. I'm going to put all of my money, my entire life savings and your mom's life savings on the second, on the latter, okay? God, it's very strange. They also cut to this conversation midway through, which sometimes can be okay, but it seems like we're missing way too much context for this scene, especially with the whole broken arm thing. Like, where did that come from? Riri's apparently been using grant and scholarship money from MIT to not pursue the degree she's literally essentially being paid to earn.
But you've been here over 4 years, with as many disciplinary hearings on record, and still no true matriculation towards a degree.
And instead, she's wasted 4 years at school to come up short on her project. Okay. Now, I actually like the admin lady because she actually calls Riri out on her shit in a way here.
I want real life scientific epiphanies. You want me to do homework? I have to explain to my professors. You want me to be small?
That's a hot pile of garbage.
And then this guy hits her with a banger.
Quite frankly, you have been a horrible steward of Stark's legacy.
Do not ruin Stark's legacy. I think we've already done that though with Marvel, so why not? Let's just keep shitting on it. Now the admin basically reveals they know everything about her selling plagiarized assignments.
You sold completed assignments to students at every school in the area.
And because of this shit and her other bullshit, they expel her from MIT.
Given your history here and the financial impact of yesterday's incident, it's too late.
You're expelling me?
Effective. Immediately.
Good job, admin. I mean, at least we're getting some character development with Riri here. She's going to have to go through some sort of trial and tribulation at the very beginning of her journey, which I guess I can give points to the writers on that. She's not getting everything handed to her. It does make sense, her getting expelled from MIT, but I feel like she had to do something way worse, which is why I feel like we're missing a scene where she blows up a bunch of important shit and everybody gets hurt, except for the scene that they actually showed us to justify this was very, very, very extremely mild. Like I said, the guy broke his arm off screen. I don't understand. Now, this part of the show kind of reflects the humbling of a hero that we see in Iron Man 1, but on a completely different and absolutely retarded scale.
She did something! Everybody out!
I mean, this is Disney MCU we're talking about, and she's already been a part of the multiverse saga. So, of course, she gets her suit right away in the next scene. I know she's already made the suit in that other movie, Black Panther and the Water Guy, but it would have been nice for it to be more of a build-up to her having to get her suit back, or maybe pull off some sort of impressive heist to get it back. So, something that like requires a struggle and her overcoming a difficulty. But I digress. She just takes various parts of her suit from the lab and assembles it around her as she easily escapes MIT.
I did that, right?
Cool. She now charts a course back home using the built-in suit, which has an AI, which is like the bootleg version of the official MIT AI assistant or something.
What's up? I'm Trevor, MIT's teaching robot and virtual operational resource, and your very own AI assistant.
And it reminded me of a knockoff version of Clippy from Windows XP.
Under my control, the entire world will be subject to my whims. Go away, you paperclip! No one likes you!
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. I'll give the writers points for that, but I guess she has some sort of open source MIT AI assistant technology implanted into her suit. Cool, whatever. Obviously, the AI in this suit kind of sucks, which is giving us motivation for her to upgrade that AI.
Come on, bro. Don't you recognize my voice? Take us home, Trevor.
Home is not a known location.
Chicago.
I kind of like this detail. I'll give the writers something here. Kind of cute. Anyways, here's where the show starts to reveal its true colors. We're now in Chicago, and we're introduced to the Glam Gang, the Gen Z, Ocean's Gen Z, as I'm going to call them. You'll find out why, because they're pulling off some sort of heist here.
You guys in position or what? System disabled.
Now, the mission is seemingly led by two of the yassiest queens Marvel's DEI interns could conjure up. Sorry, easy joke. Now, jokes aside, they could be good characters. They could be. Time will tell. Time will expose. Apparently, they all have nicknames, too, and this one is apparently named Clown.
You're up, Clown.
But I'm going to go ahead and call her Thing 2. Now, Thing 1 here managed to shut off the security system, but Stu, who doesn't have a nickname because he proceeds to fumble the bag as he struggles to get the system security offline.
Ah, shit! System just went back online. Hang on a second.
Come on. It's a reason.
Now, Thing 1 obviously complains about his incompetence and this inconvenience.
Stuart, my guy, what is the holdup?
Okay, system disabled. You're good to go again.
Seriously, guys, this drama is so contrived. It serves no literal purpose except to humiliate this guy. Why he has to be the one humiliated, I don't know. But, I mean, he is played by Eric Andre, who is known to kind of be that kind of character from time to time. So, you know, I'll give it a pass, I guess. But don't worry, this heist is only going to get stupider. Now, here's where it gets stupider. Thing 1 lights a strip of pyrotechnics on this door handle here. And apparently when she lights it off, it just somehow unlocks the door. Like, we need some sort of Mythbusters on this shit. Like, it's kind of cool, but I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. Some Gen Z bullshit. Now, what I mean by not buying it is I don't understand how a single strip of flammable material placed on the handle would somehow then melt the entire inside of the lock. Now, it would be way cooler if she had like a toothpick or something like that and she shoved like a cotton ball inside of it with a string on the end and lit it off like a fuse, so like the inside of the lock would blow up. But she just puts it on the door handle, the little lever, and it works.
I call it Dragon's Breath.
No, it's called Dragon's Breath. It's got a cool name. Makes sense now. Thanks, Clown. No, her name's actually called Clown. Now, I was being mean by calling her Thing 1, but the show already called her Clown, so it doesn't really matter. Now, here's where the writers just expose their absolute unawareness of their own bullshit. They're doing a heist mission, likely a highly critical heist mission, except they're walking around so slowly, you would think they're staging clips in an aura farming TikTok montage rather than performing a high-stakes heist. Seriously, move faster. You're on a highly illegal heist mission where the security system has already shown to turn itself back on again. Oh, where is the urgency? Where is the urgency? Make it make sense. Now they're looking for the asset.
Third corridor on the left. The asset is right behind that door.
Which should be an important item, yet it's just behind an easily openable, unlocked standard door. Okay. Now opening the door triggers an alarm because Rampage... Oh yeah, I forgot. His nickname is supposed to be Rampage.
Come on, Stu.
It's Rampage. Not Stu. It's not Stuart. Rampage.
Yeah, we're not calling you that.
They call him Stu. Anyways, Rampage Stu fumbled the bag again.
What's the alarm going off? No.
With the security system, and we get an instant security butler NPC fight with what are now called the Blood Sibs.
Blood Sibs. Y'all got company.
So they have two nicknames. They got like individual nicknames, and they're also called the Blood Sibs. The Blood Sibs. Just say it out loud like 10 times, and you'll realize. I don't know. Just was pissing me off. Now, for some reason, the show wants more contrived drama that's not going to matter absolutely whatsoever at all. So the alarm system starts to block the specific type of signal that they were using for comms conveniently.
I lost visual. I can fix this. The alarm must have triggered a signal block. Shit. Now listen up. Cops are going to be here any minute thanks to our boy Stewie. Slo's going to text you and pick up coordinates now.
This isn't going to matter at all. Anyways, the Blood Sibs, Freudian slip, they absolutely crack the shit out of the security guards. They're just badass, 100%, no questions. I miss when there was like struggles in fights. This could have been a very cool opportunity for Marvel to flex their choreography and flex their fight scenes. Like each fight scene should be a story within itself, but no, it's just a beat 'em up and they're good. It's like a video game on basic mode, on story mode with no story. It's terrible. Like the one thing you can nail in a show with bad writing in terms of dialogue and story, the one thing you can probably nail easily is fight scenes. Like why show action at all if it's just going to be this simple, this easy? There's no tension. Breaks the immersion. Anyways, as I said, the signal being blocked had zero effect on the actual plot.
Now listen up. Cops are going to be here any minute thanks to our boy Stewie. Slo's going to text you and pick up coordinates now.
There's virtually no tension when it comes to this scene, as I said, and they end up getting away as we cut to them later on, seemingly successfully pulling off the heist. It's not clear yet whether they even got the asset or what the asset was. Hopefully it'll come into play later. I'm actually expecting it to not even matter at all. This scene was just designed to show off the yassification heist, and that's it, just to give us a shitty character introduction for each of these people. I don't know. Do I even care at this point? But wait, here's where something cool actually happens. They meet up with the main villain of the show, the Hood. No, I'm not talking about the actual Hood, like the Hood. This guy right here wearing the hood, he's the Hood. There's some sort of metaphor in there. Now let's take a quick pause here. Here's the thing about these characters, right? I said this in the beginning of the video. You only get one chance to introduce characters for the first time. And to be honest, every impression of a character so far has been absolutely dog shit and full of air. Like honestly, it's expected. I'm expecting nothing less here. And boy, does Gen Z Marvel never disappoint. Our introduction to the Hood is gotta be the most lackluster, aura-less introduction to a character yet, as he doesn't intimidate me, doesn't bring off any sort of presence.
Yo, Hood. Not strapping the van. You need anything else?
Nah, you guys are good.
And doesn't get any sort of characteristics out of his first introduction. He simply tells them to have a nice day, and then he has a conversation here with the leader of Ocean's Gen Z, which might be the most standard character we have on the show, but it's kind of a breath of fresh air, this guy. You know, nothing wrong with him. Just plays it by the books. He's got an interesting aura about him, you know. You can definitely tell he's a leader, even though he's still boring as shit. But yeah, as you can see, a Hood guy here just has his villain costume out in broad daylight, super casually, and he just looks, like I said, he lacks aura, as the kids say. Where's the aura? I miss when Marvel had aura. Now we get this conversation with Hood and the Gen Z leader.
So what should we know about Stuart? Fire him. But make sure you find his replacement first.
Don't fire my guy, please. And his name is Rampage. His name's Rampage. But conveniently, they begin to hear a knockoff Iron Man suit nearby in the area.
Where are we gonna fight someone in the next couple of days? Now we still got Tunnel, Heirloom, the big job.
And of course, it's Riri Williams. And she tells the suit AI that she needs to text Xavier, her friend, for an escape plan.
Yeah, text Xavier. Sure. Tell him to meet me at my mom's.
Texting Xavier.
Need an escape plan.
Now, an escape plan implies you've done something wrong and you are being chased. But is she even doing anything wrong? Because she didn't make the suit at MIT. Or did she? I don't know. She made it in the other movie in a garage, seemingly. Maybe she was using MIT resources. Maybe MIT owns the suit and she stole it and they should be chasing her. Somebody should be chasing her, is my point. because she's with a highly dangerous piece of technology, flying freely, breaking many probably weapon control and air traffic control laws at the same time. And yet nobody's chasing her, but she still needs an escape plan? Where's the tension? Who is she escaping from? Like, this would have been a great, perfect setup for a cameo from Don Cheadle's War Machine. He could have been notified, hey, Ironheart is on the loose. We need you to track her down. We don't know if she's going to do something dangerous with the suit. She just left MIT. Chase her down. Seriously. But no, nobody's chasing her. They didn't have the budget for Don Cheadle, and the writers would have screwed that up anyways. So I'm not sure what this escape plan is even for. Now, Riri's suit loses power perfectly on time for her to arrive in town in Chicago.
Switch to manual control.
But not quite at her destination because plot. And then we get the very subtle and underwhelming title card shown here with Riri's body forming the A in the words Iron Shart. Okay, I'll admit that is a Photoshop job. It actually says Ironheart. It was too easy. It was too easy. Now, if we rewind a little bit before that, we do see a guy in the street preaching about Thanos and Tony Stark as a piece of suit falls on the floor at his feet.
Thanos was just the beginning. Tony can't save us this time.
It's gonna be one of the major themes of this show that we're gonna compare Tony Stark's legacy to Ironheart's up and coming identity.
And people actually should know too, this series isn't
About passing the torch.
I like seeing the world building, so I'll give it a pass. Now, she befriends a kid with a wagon with absolutely no urgency.
Wait, I can carry his edge for you. Check it out, check it out.
Seriously, she needed an escape plan before, as if she was being pursued, which she should have been being pursued. Like I said, she's probably breaking air traffic and weapon control laws, yet there's not even so much as a police officer in sight at the crash scene. Seriously, some freaking person in an iron suit crashed out of the sky in Chicago and nobody's talking about it. What? Like, seriously, where's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Where are they? Now, again, we see her with a lack of any and all urgency or fear of being pursued after she dropped the escape plan line minutes ago, and she arrives at her mom's house with ease. Nobody's chasing her. Now, here at the mom's house, we have a conversation about Riri being a bad girl.
But Riri's always been like this, though. And see, I don't know how much of it is her acting out and how much of it is Riri being Riri. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways, they characterize her mom as somebody who used to land herself in jail.
Don't bring Riri by herself if you can be my daughter. They could get into some trouble. Is there anything else we better get some bail money?
So we're getting stereotypical here. Love it, Disney. Well done. They ramble on about her getting kicked out of school.
Which crystal is for wise asses who've been kicked out of school? Black obsidian.
And her mom's friend is sort of some crystal magic healer. I don't know. It doesn't really.
Hey, black people.
What the fuck? Wait, hold on.
Hey, black people.
Is this how black people greet each other? Like, let me just rephrase this. Imagine a Mexican themed show. Like, let's say Blue Beetle. That was a movie. Mexican themed family. Where Blue Beetle's friend walks in and says, "What's up, Mexicans?" Or let's picture an Indian themed superhero show where a friend of the Indian hero walks into an Indian family house and says, "What's up, brown people?" How does that play out? Like, okay, I'm going to address my black audience in the comments. I know you guys are out there. Is this how you greet your family? They might as well have had him walk in the door with a watermelon and a bucket. Let me ask my black audience out there. Is this how you greet your friends and family? What's up, black people? I feel like they wanted to use a different word in there, which honestly would have felt more acceptable because that's how that culture is. There's a word we can't say. Disney can't say it, so they just say, "Hey, what's up, black people?" Okay, I digress. But if the quality of the show continues like this, get ready for an acolyte level bomb that could clear out the entire country of Iran faster than a North American XB-70 Valkyrie. Look it up. Anyways, the best friend Xavier is here, the guy she needed for an escape plan earlier, and they have the world's most ironic chat.
Tell me you gonna stick around Chicago to build it?
I need a job that pays. A lab so massive they don't notice if I finesse a resource here or there.
I need a job that pays in a lab so big I could steal parts. So basically everything she would have gotten if she just would have followed through on her MIT degree that the government and the Tony Stark Fellowship Fund were paying for.
What do I get out of matriculation? Some
job in Palo Alto with a tiny window. I need a job that pays.
In fact, she seemingly already had access to funding through the Stark Fellowship and a lab through MIT. She already had these things in the beginning of the show. All she had to do was pursue her degree and not sell plagiarized projects, and she could have had exactly what she wanted. Oh my God. She tossed it all away, even though that's what she had and needed and knew she needed the whole time. And also she wants to steal shit.
So massive, they don't notice if I finesse a resource here or there.
Now she also says she wants to go to, like, I don't know, Dubai.
Thinking, Dubai?
All the way around the world to prove a point.
Because everything at home feels small.
Everything here feels so, I don't know, small.
And then we immediately, ironically, cut to a shot of the big, huge, giant city that they're currently residing in. Cutting this shot next to this dialogue doesn't make a lick of sense. Why would it though? We then cut to what I like to call desperately obvious sad exposition. It's sad exposition.
Just wanted to show you the mural they put up with your stepdad and my sister while you were away. Not bad, right?
Where we see a mural on the wall honoring Riri's late stepfather and best friend or stepsister. I can't tell what the relationship is here. Anyways, it's Natalie and Daddy G. Yeah, that's their names. Natalie's fine. Daddy G's questionable. Anyways, this is Gary's shop, the stepfather, where he used to work on cars with Riri.
I miss them both.
I'm just so happy.
You remember that one time your stepdad got stuck under the Celica? Like a jack gave out?
Now, one of these two characters will become way too important at the end of the episode, so stay fucking tuned. We then head to the next scene, which is Jim's junkyard, where Riri is collecting scraps with her friend Guy to rebuild the suit, including an Xbox 360 controller. She trying to get down on 2K? Or is she gonna like control the suit with a controller? What is the controller for? I don't understand. That controller better be Chekhov's goddamn controller, because I want to see what the fuck she uses it for. I don't think the controller's ever coming back though. If it does, and it's clever, I'll be excited. Now, it's made very clear so far that Riri definitely does not have the funding to afford all this equipment. So when she goes to ask for a payment extension, mind you, from the man who just said this out loud in front of her.
Tony on line one, he's asking for another extension. Hey, I told you this guy needs to pay in full.
She then receives a Deus Ex payment from Gen Z heist boss, this guy right here.
This time I was hoping, just this once, that you'd actually let me.
Hoping you let her pay with large bills.
Now he does this in order to win her over to the dark side and join the gang, of course. It's not the only purpose of this scene, however, as we get more tell, not show dialogue, exposition, whatever you want to call it, about how great Riri Williams is.
Could not open the local section of the trip and not see a story on her. Finished 9th grade at age 11.
As if we weren't clued in enough already by the fact that she built her own goddamn Iron Man suit with no funding.
Started college at 15 and here she is in your shop all grown up.
Now, the problem with this new generation of heroes is that we're always just told how great they are constantly by other characters, as if the writers are insecure and don't think we can comprehend the greatness of the character unless we're blatantly bashed over the head by baffling amounts of glazing from the script itself. I feel like this guy had no other reason to say this shit out loud other than the scriptwriters simply needed the audience to hear it. So it comes off extremely unnatural in cases like this. It's okay though, because of course, Riri had it all under control.
I had it under control.
I know you did.
Really, you had it under control. You were going to ask for a loan from the guy who just shouted at a previous customer to pay in full.
Hey, I told you this guy needs to pay in full.
Yeah, got it. Now my first inkling of respect leaked out of me here as we get a conversation between Riri and Gen Z heist boss where they bring up Tony Stark.
And you're at least as smart as that Tony guy, right?
I just met you, and he contributed immensely to the field, so I won't roast Tony Stark off for it.
She gave Tony Stark his props. Gotta say, decent. First piece of decent writing we had. Love it. Now, it's evidently clear by now that the major theme of this show is that she wants to be Stark.
And people actually should know too, this series isn't about passing the torch.
I want to continue Mr. Stark's legacy. Your girl finna be bigger than Johns. Right. Bigger than Gates. Right. Bigger than Pym. Right. Bigger than Stark. Yeah.
But she doesn't have the money.
I need cash. Money. Do you think Tony Stark would be Tony Stark if he wasn't a
box of scraps?
So she's better than Stark, but she needs the money to be better than him. Okay. I can respect that theme. Like, it kind of makes sense, but it just feels odd that the show feels the need to constantly bring that comparison up with explicit dialogue. It just feels like the show is insisting upon itself, if that makes any sense. Riri then gets invited to join Ocean's Gen Z.
That's why I work for someone better. Come on tomorrow to meet him. When you get there, use the elevator in the kitchen up to the second floor.
Guys, if you haven't watched Ocean's 11, that's a reference to that. I know a lot of my audience might be younger, but yeah. She gets an invitation to join the Gen Z heist gang located above a pizza shop. This is where the iconic elevator scene from the first trailer takes place. And it's not really exciting at all because I've already seen the entire thing play out in the trailer, but it's also not exciting because the writing is not that great for this scene, and I'll explain exactly why right now. Exhibit A, Riri enters the elevator and it stops at the second floor, locking her in, and then this. Okay, so let me get this straight. This scene was so contrived that in order for this whole shebang to work, the scene is relying on Riri to hopefully bang on the elevator control panel, causing it to magically spring open and reveal a countdown timer. Why is the timer inside the control panel and not on the puzzle device that they have here for her to solve? Please make it make sense. It's almost as bad as that scene in Thunderbolts where they put a timer, a countdown timer, inside the room when they were gassing up the chamber that the Thunderbolts were inside of. Like, why was there even a timer in that scene? Like, for them just to feel dread? No, it was for the timer was for the audience. Similar issues in writing. It's Marvel. There's a trend. We can see it by now.
Welcome, Riri. In less than 3 minutes, the air in this elevator will no longer be breathable.
This is illegal!
This is illegal. Yeah, writing this bad is quite criminal, but it's not illegal. I wonder if she knows how I'm watching this show, though.
Break into the device on the floor and find the gas mask. Good luck.
Anyways, we get some TikTok-level dialogue from Ocean's Gen Z as they watch Riri figuring her way out of the elevator here.
Okay, hold on. I get Weekend Warrior vibes from this one. Takes one to know one.
Just cringe. We also get more Rampage bashing.
Caliber, watch. It doesn't matter what she uses. Look at her, she's shook. Sweats almost as much as you, Stu.
Listen, put some respect on my boy Rampage Stu here. Okay? That's fucking Eric Andre, and he's more famous than any of you. This has got to be some sort of humiliation ritual. Now, apparently Riri is an expert in elevator electrical rigging because she breaks some glass and uses a shard of it to cut open the exact wires needed to jumpstart the door. Seriously, did she study electrical rigging for elevators? Maybe she did. Maybe that was a class at MIT. Who knows? She then uses super strength to rip the metal railing off the wall and pry open an industrial elevator door. Jarvis, how much does an industrial elevator door weigh? Oh, several hundred pounds. I guess Riri should enter the male weightlifting bodybuilding Olympics. She's got a real talent here. Weightlifting and bodybuilding Olympics, is that a thing? I don't know. It should be, just so Riri could come and win it. Anyways, obviously Riri escapes the trap, which of course was just an interview for her to join the Gen Z gang all along.
Why would you do that?
Doesn't matter why I did what I did. What matters is what you did. You beat Stewart's time.
Who is Stewart?
Not like her building an iron suit, a functional Iron Man suit that they watched her fly to Chicago in and also take part in a war in Wakanda. That wasn't enough to get her the job. She had to figure out how to open an elevator in order to join the team. Let me get this straight. They already paid for items for her suit. They already watched her build the suit, as I said, or watched her fly in the suit that she built, likely heard about her participating in Wakanda, and yet they still need her to exit an elevator to join the team. It is so goddamn clear that the writers just wanted another scene to show off how clever she was, rather than to pay attention to the actual logic of the world that they've set up. When you have something like that take place over and over again in a show, that level of writing, you understand the nature of what you're working with. And what we're working with is absolutely fucking dog water.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Yes, Rampage. It is exactly what you would have done, bro. You're perfect. You are perfect. You're the smartest one on the team. We then get a monologue from Parker. Okay, his name is Parker, but he's actually the Hood. We found out his name in an earlier piece of dialogue.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius, but I said to myself, Parker, you gotta meet this kid up close.
We found out his name in a piece of dialogue here. He talks about how Riri has been put down and passed up for mediocre people and made to feel small.
I see you fed up with mediocre folks taking your spot, mediocre institutions rejecting your genius. And soon enough, you're gonna get tired of making yourself so small to fit inside those awkward boxes they put you in.
We keep getting told these things by the show, but we never actually see how she's being suppressed or oppressed.
You don't need to be small. Riri, that's a hot pile of garbage. Trash, and you know it.
Like, apparently the show wants us to know that she's been completely and totally oppressed by the system, whatever the system is. But here's what we actually fucking know. Riri Williams was granted 4+ years of free schooling at the world-renowned University of MIT while simultaneously receiving generous funding for projects via the Stark Fellowship with access to highly coveted laboratory workspaces. But no, she's been suppressed because she and other characters told us she's been suppressed. The only bad thing that's happened to her was her own fault when she was expelled from MIT due to apparently almost killing a faculty member and also for providing plagiarized projects for sale.
This is awesome.
And ignoring her degree that was funded by Stark himself. Now, the lack of empathy I have for Riri here, knowing the writing of this show so far, is surpassing that of even Captain Marvel at the moment, and that's really saying something. Now, back to the plot. Obviously, this is where Riri has to make a deal with the devil. That line will hit harder later. And secure funding for her projects by helping the Hood and the Gen Z gang commit some crimes.
Consider this a signing bonus. And if you agree to do the next 3 jobs with us, we'll have way more than this.
I assume these jobs aren't exactly legal.
AKA steal shit.
Theft, extortion, breaking and entering.
Great job, Marvel. Just fantastic writing. We have the first black female Marvel character ever getting her own show. There have been other ones, but not with their own show. And they choose to make the plot about having her stealing shit for a living. You guys can decide what this means.
Come work for me.
No. I'm out.
It's okay, no. She's out. She's gonna be a good guy. We can erase that last part from my script. Good guy's gonna show her out and she'll use her suit for good. She'll probably go to Iron Man. Oh, sorry. She'll probably go to Stark Industries and show off her design and get a job and, you know, work for the Avengers and all that.
I will give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. ASAP. So you in or out?
That'd be worth it.
It will be.
Oh, well, never mind. Again, keep my script as it was, Jarvis. Now, obviously, Riri's a little skeptical, but the show must go on. So she agrees to commit crimes with the Gen Z gang. It's just, well, you know, it's just a little bit of theft, a little bit of extortion, breaking and entering, just a little bit of crime. We're good, though. We do then get a baffling argument as to why Riri should join the team.
Theft, extortion, breaking and entering.
Why?
Why do you make iron suits? I'm sure you have a good reason why you do what you do. And I have reasons of my own.
Now, this conversation, yet again, baffles me because Riri has to compare her motive of building her Iron Lady suit, to the motives of Hood Boy and come to the conclusion that her building her suit for good and him committing extortion is along the same morality. That the writers want us to think that she came to an understanding with the morality or the motives behind each of their decisions to commit crime, to do the things. I don't understand it. Like, there should have been a deeper conversation here, maybe a bait and switch of trying to explain that Hood's crimes were actually committed for a bigger, more morally grounded reason. You know, maybe like a anti-hero. But no, he just says, I have reasons, and doesn't give any understanding to the audience or Riri as to why she should back him up here. Now, the conversation takes a retarded turn for the worse yet again when Hood explains how she'd probably have a tough time finding the legal means to get access to a laboratory and cash anywhere else.
Now, you could try to get this cash out there, but you already know what it's going to come with. Red tape, delays, strings attached.
But let's think about this for just a second, okay? We have 2 options. She does heist and commits crimes, potentially ruining her reputation and getting her locked up. Or she could take her immense amount of displayable talents in the form of her iron suit and other technologies that she's created. She created a bubble shield in the first 2 minutes of the show. She could do any of that and perform that in front of any major tech company around the world, get a job and get funding within hours, days. She could walk up to Stark Industries with her suit and say, hey, I want a job. They gave Peter Parker an internship just because he had powers. And he was kind of smart too. She has an entire Iron Man suit and she can't get an internship or a paid job anywhere around the world. I do not understand why she has chosen to go the illegal route when she hasn't even attempted to pursue any of the extremely viable legal options she has to go about getting funding for herself. Like, this show was too lazy or didn't have the budget to give her the opportunity to go and try legal means of securing the bag and failing. Like, we need a scene where she goes and attempts the legal route of this and then fails. in order for this scene to make any emotional sense. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, Riri literally worked with the Wakandan government to defeat a supervillain after building her own Iron Man suit in a random garage with a box of fucking scraps, and you're telling me this didn't give her any social credit with both Wakanda and the US governments and private tech industries around the world? I'm telling you, the bitch could fly her ass up to Stark Tower with that suit and get a high-paying job in a matter of fucking seconds. Better yet, her best friend Shuri has access to the best scientific lab in the entire planet, and yet there's not even an attempt for the script to write around this at all. And Disney even said watching Wakanda 2 Waterworld was a recommendation or a homework viewing for this show. Got it. Make it make sense.
So you in or out?
Of course she's in, bro. Of course she's in. It's impossible for her to get funding anywhere else, and the show must go on.
It'll be worth it.
It will be. But we're gonna need that iron suit tomorrow.
Okay, 2 things here. She's got to rebuild half the iron suit in her mom's kitchen overnight, and she then has to use the iron suit in a heist, which likely has an extremely high possibility of forever ruining Ironheart's reputation in the public eye, potentially labeling her as a villain, because goddamn, I find it hard to believe that no one is going to notice an entirely recognizable Iron Man suit that is known to belong to one and only Riri Williams being used for a heist in public. Got it. More stupid shit. Holy shit.
No problem.
No problem? Lots of problems, guys. Lots of problems. We then cut to Riri at her mom's place, and as I said, she's building the suit in the kitchen. Now, I wish the hood guy would have at least enticed Riri with access to maybe a private lab or a private garage where she could work on the suit. Because not only would I see that as making way more sense, I'm assuming there will also be massive amounts of equipment needed to repair the suit. But no, she does it in the kitchen instead at her mom's place. It would have been a very easy additional manipulation tactic from the hood to offer her this workspace on top of the cash, to kind of put a cherry on the top of his, convincing in that scene. But no, more stupid shit instead. Also, I've come to a realization. The hood. Parker is the hood. He wears a hood, and he represents the hood. He represents crime and evil in this show. So, Riri, a black girl from the hood, is being seduced to the dark side by the hood. There's some sort of bullshit, corny allegory in there that would be way fucking cooler in a better show. Nice. Anyways, Riri gets to work in the kitchen where she fits right in very naturally, and she finally listens to Xavier's mixtape from earlier, which has a voicemail from her dead best friend laid into the intro of the first track.
You got the vocals too?
Hey, Xavier, it's me, Nat. Need you to do big sis of paper.
Really?
I'm not sure if I told you guys, but yeah, she did get a mixtape from Xavier at one point earlier in the show. Now, maybe he was just being sentimental. Otherwise, I don't know why her dead best friend's voicemail is laid into the intro of his first track. I guess. Interesting. Now, this triggers a PTSD flashback where we finally get some show, don't tell background exposition on her friend Natalie and her stepdad, Daddy G.
Okay, but did you hear me out?
Now, I said show, don't tell, but it still is very extremely vaguely shot and edited. But apparently they died in a shooting at the auto shop, and no explanation was given as to why. Now, after the flashback, her mom enters and they get into an absolutely confusing argument here.
Let me help. Why don't you go clean up the shop? He hit the state you have it in. I tried calling you, but you never want to talk about him. So now it's my fault that you let Gary's dream die.
Again, the writers have no clue how to write dramatic dialogue, and it shows. And I'll tell you why. So apparently after Daddy G's tragic death, the guy who ran the auto shop, there was no one to run the auto shop, and it's now left in disarray. And Riri inexplicably calls her mom out for this, saying,
So now it's my fault that you let Gary's dream die.
Okay, let me get this straight, Riri. Your mom, who has not been shown to be mechanically inclined whatsoever, we have no idea if she's a mechanic or not. She's supposed to take your stepdad's place at the auto shop to keep his dream alive. YouTube audience, I'm going to look at you guys. I'm going to look at you guys right here in the soul. Should we all be upset if our dads pass away and our moms don't take up their career path competently after the fact? What in the hell is even going on with this dialogue? It is so contrived. It makes no sense. I swear nothing in the show makes any goddamn sense. Now we cut back to the hood guy, Parker, and the Gen Z boss as we reveal the Hood's tattoos with an ominous edit. I'm not sure what this means, but we can definitely see he's been through some sort of accident or infusion of dark power, perhaps via the scarring shown on his back. Now, Riri did say she was going to her room earlier, but she's a big fat liar.
I'm going to my room.
And she's back in the kitchen. She couldn't resist the call. No, she really needs to fix her suit up before she goes heisting with Gen Z. So, yeah. Honestly, this scene has some potential here. Kind of cool. I like these prepping scenes, especially when it comes to like the first Iron Man. But again, this is Walmart version, so we're going to get nothing of that caliber here. We see her prepping to charge the suit, which is cool, and prepping contingency plans for the suit, like fail-safes.
Contingencies. Case in fall.
I promise you, Riri, I don't know what fucking world you're living in. Actually, you're living in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But when you fall over 100 feet going 100 miles per hour in a heavy-ass suit made of completely, entirely metal, no pillow is going to save you from absolute disfiguration of your skeleton, or at the very least, severe brain damage via the extreme blunt force caused by the impact. It's just not going to work. Your mom's pillows is not going to save you. Sorry. That's like going to the costume store, grabbing a Captain America shield and bringing it to freaking Iran. You're not going to survive. I'd like to see you try, though. Also, smelling salts. Now, this is actually kind of clever. I mean, these are meant to, like, perhaps maybe wake her up. Like, if she passes out or some shit like that. I guess if she builds some sort of mechanism with the AI that will allow her to recognize when she's passed out and then administrate the smelling salts to her after the fact, that's kind of clever. I like that. That's kind of cool. It would have been pretty cool for Stark to have that when he passed out, when he went too high in the atmosphere. Yeah. Okay. The first inkling of clever writing shown from the show here. I'll hand it to him. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. Now, this is where we get to the most bizarre sequence of the entire episode so far. Riri Williams begins uploading her brain into the suit. I'm not kidding. She's using some sort of homemade device to upload her entire consciousness via a laptop into a digital format. Now, you're telling me, I've already been through this point before, but let's rehash. You're telling me she has the ability to do this kind of operation with no expensive lab tech, and yet she still can't get legal access to any sort of funding or even land a high-paying job with any major tech company, let alone the government. This is where my mind is completely broken, and I'm now going to be what's called hate watching the entire series. It's like watching a car crash, right? I give these shows a chance based on my first impressions and based on the objective ideas presented by the writers. But it comes to a point where you realize a piece of media is completely unaware of its own self, and you can begin to predict the overall quality of the show or movie based on this very fact. Now, we learn Riri's brain upload is going to take 4 hours, which is ironically how long it felt to write the breakdown for this episode. I think it took me like 3.5 hours, so maybe it's accurate. But we also cut back to Hood Boy as he enters a mysterious room where he hangs up his hood. That's all he does. He just hangs up the hood. And we also get a very, very on-the-nose telling piece of detail here from the soundtrack, as while he's entering the room, it says this. Get it? Because it looks like maybe he made a deal with the devil to get some sort of powers, or maybe he is the devil. I don't know. There's been a leak that he's connected to the appearance of Mephisto, aka the devil in Marvel, basically the devil in Marvel for what it's worth. So yeah, they want us to know that there's some sort of deal with the devil going on here. Pretty obvious. Although I kind of like it. Call me corny. I am curious to see where this leads. In the same way I'm curious to see what happens when somebody drops a brick off a freeway overpass. Now, Hood Guy hangs up his hood as Riri comes to the end of her brain upload sequence. And this is where the show really begins to get interesting, but in the most retarded way possible. Yeah, the big reveal at the end of this episode is that her brain upload actually turned into an AI recreation of her dead best friend, Natalie.
Natalie? Well, who the hell else would it be, bitch?
I don't have many words. I mean, I'll admit it's an oddly retardedly interesting plot twist. But again, this makes not a shred of sense which ironically is a pattern and theme that is starting to perhaps make sense within the writing of this show, just because, you don't know what to expect anymore. Although you do, although you don't. It's quite the conundrum. But that's it, guys. We cap off the episode with this reveal, and we now realize that we're going to have Riri's ghetto friend as the new Jarvis inside her suit. Also, I have no clue where the projection of her friend is even coming from. Is this a hallucination? Is it magic tech? Is it a projection from the suit? Is it all in her head? We don't know. That's the cliffhanger. That's the banger episode. That's the banger ending to a banger episode, episode 1 of Ironheart. And that's it. That's all there is. I mean, I am going to be doing the next 2 episodes, guys. And then the following week, I'll do the next 3 because they're dropping 3 at a time. So I would come up with some sort of elaborate breakdown for the ending of this video, but I'm too overwhelmed with stupidity. My brain has become mush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go edit this, upload it. Hopefully you guys can drop a like, a comment, subscribe, and stay tuned. You're going to get as many episodes as it takes for me to review the whole show, episode by episode. So a minimum of 6. I'm not sure if they're dropping more than that, but I will see you guys for episode 2 of the Ironheart breakdown. I love you 3000.